Hi, I've been meaning to do this video for a couple of days and am ready to do it. Okay, this video is about how to speak out. Now really it's about how to speak out rationally, because although a chant or a rant may look good on TV, really for a policymaker, it's easy for them to kind of shut that off. Yeah, they'll make lip service and everything else, but they really don't think. See, in this series, I'm asking people to think. So let's present our opinions to those elected officials and say in a manner that makes them think. Let's take an example of the video we did for Senator Whitehouse. Okay, looked at a clip, studied his background, did some research, found out about his past, and then put him on the carpet. Isn't that kind of interesting? Okay, was I angry the day I did that? Yes, I was. But the video was full of a lot of facts. And it made a point. You're detached, Senator. You're not part of the reality. You're in theory land, not fact land. Now that video did two functions. One, it put the senator on notice. Two, it gave you something to think about. Okay? Now let's talk about how you get your opinion to your senator or your congressman. Well, it's very simple. You go on the web, type senate.gov, and click in the upper left-hand corner. You'll see where it says senators. Click that. It will ask you for your state. You click your state in. Send a message to both your senators. Okay? Congress. That's house.gov. Click the upper left-hand corner. It says representatives. It'll give you the list of your representatives from your state. Now, really, we should probably target it to the area that you live in, but if we really want to get our message across, send it to all of them. Because when you click those links, either at Senate or at the House, it'll give you email addresses. It'll give you forms. So you can send them a nice email. You can send them a don't do this little note. Or you can use YouTube. You can go to YouTube, do a little presentation on there, speaking directly as if you had 10 minutes with the senator, speak your points, post it on YouTube, then send them that form with a link to your YouTube with a little bit of note. Please go watch this because I'm speaking to you. Now what's interesting about using YouTube is if we all begin posting about subjects, you have a tidal wave of people talking about the same thing, which makes it easy for the media to pick up. Now think about this. What if you had 10,000 people doing a video to Senator Whitehouse saying, "You're a greedy little pig"? Or, you've never had a job. You've never had to work for a paycheck. Think about that. Think about the amount of pressure and the amount of momentum that can bring up. You see, several things have happened this week, and we really need to start speaking out about them. This week, President Obama signed an executive order or an amendment to an executive order granting Interpol, the International Police Agency, diplomatic immunity that made them untouchable inside the United States. Now they yet can be able to arrest somebody, but they can collect files on you, they can collect information, and when you leave the country they can operate against you there. It won't be long before a precedent is set where Interpol will come and arrest you directly in your own house. Now that sounds like a very strange thing to say, or like I'm talking in a conspiracy theory manner. But we've talked about incrementalism. A little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. How do you get a lot? You get it a little bit at a time. Now in the video to Senator Whitehouse, I mentioned the Supreme Court ruling. What happens if Interpol decides that you or me are an suspected international enemy combatant? because we express our opinions. Think about this. Are we that far away from that happening? It only takes once, and then it'll happen again and again and again and again. Today I had a meeting with a friend of mine who is from Russia. He's a pilot, and we talked today about many of the things that have been going on here in the United States. And he looked at me very solemnly and said, "It sounds like Russia in the 60s and 70s during communism with the KGB." And he was scared. Now, this is a man who'd served in the Russian military, had gone through the communist era, had come to the United States after the coming down of the Berlin Wall, the breakdown of the Berlin Wall and the destruction of communism. When Russia became free, he came to the United States. And he's wondering now if he's going to have to move back to Russia because Russia is more free than the U.S. is. That's somebody who's lived it. That's fact. We just talk theory. But he sees the correlation between the two, and it scares him. And it should scare us, because he's already walked in those shoes once. And he came here for a different lifestyle. So getting back to making your voice, making your opinion heard, I encourage you to listen. I encourage you to read. I encourage you to think. I encourage you to talk to each other. Form an opinion. And when something bothers you, speak out. Stand up. Express your God-given rights. Because the Constitution is only as good as the government who abides by it. And our government is not abiding by our Constitution. So we, the people, empowered by God above to create this government, need to tell our elected officials, we're watching you. You don't do this. Because the truth is, there's more of us than there are police and military and government. I just said that. There's more of us than there are them. I'm not saying we make this an issue of us and them. What I am saying, we make our voices heard so they know, we know, there's more of us than them, and that we know that they work for us, even though they don't seem to think that anymore. Spoiled little children occasionally need to get spankings. We can either do it easily or we can do it the hard way. Expressing our opinions to the elected officials at this point in time might be enough to get them to stop. But I encourage you, Senate.gov, House.gov, send emails, send notes, send video clips, send it often. Be a pain in the butt. They have to grease the wheel when it squeaks. As I said in this series before, I ask you to think. I ask you to ask questions. Because a seeker of truth, a true seeker of truth, asks questions upon their path to finding truth. Stand up, wear your chain, and God bless you.